All right. Hey everyone, I'm Big John, and welcome to another episode of the Diz Ability Show live. Hang on. All right. So, this week I want to talk about rainy day tips. Now, first off, it's always a good idea to check the weather and always pack things just in case. Of course, you can check the Hey, if you're staying at a Disney resort, you can ask the Hey Disney app if they about the weather in the parks. Now, if it gets thundery with thunder and lightning, the outdoor rides will not be running. So keep that in mind if the forecast at the park that day it calls for thunder and lightning. And it's a good idea to go into an indoor location depending on where you are. If you are in an indoor location, depending on the park, or at your hotel, or in a store, or in a restaurant. So you can wait for at least the heavy parts of the storm to pass. And like I said, make sure just in case you pack stuff in your backpack like an umbrella, some raincoats, or if you're my mom, at least 100 ponchos. That way, you are ready for the day and to take on the elements. So anyway, that's my tip. As always, if you have any questions on how to do Disney for people with disabilities, let me know in the chat if you're watching this live, or in the comments if you're watching this later, and I'll make sure it gets into a future episode. And now it's time for this week's Top 5. So, Disney's California Adventure has some pretty great rides. First of all, yesterday was the start of the 70th anniversary of Disneyland. And I've seen a lot of vlogs so far of that. But anyway, Disney's California Adventure has some pretty great rides. So this week, we are going to cover my top 5 rides at Disney's California Adventure. Hi, main guy. Make sure you subscribe if you're just tuning in. I just talked about some great rainy day tips for the parks. And right now we're going to cover, like I said, my top 5 rides at Disney's California Adventure. Wow, 14 people watching. Make sure you say hi and subscribe, all right? All right, number 5, Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure. Now, this is a fun, interactive ride. It's just like a Space Ranger Spin or Toy Story Mania, except instead of blasters in your vehicle, you shoot webs with your hands, which is kind of cool. And you're shooting at spider bots, which you can also buy in the park for like $100. No, Steve Kerr. I don't think you would shoot a web in the Mickey Mouse. Uh, but yeah, it's a great ride. It has, of course, Tom Holland in it as Spider-Man, and of course some crazy antics as well. It's a fun ride. Number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. Now, this is their California Adventures version of Tower of Terror. Of course, it was Guardianified, you would say, 9 years ago. And I have to say the theming for Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout is way better than the theming for Tower of Terror. I know I'm going to get hate for that, but it's how I feel. Because you got the Guardians trapped in the Collector's Fortress. Of course, Rocket escapes, and you have to help Rocket free the rest of his friends. Thank you, main guy. And then things go out of control. All the cages are loose, and of course, you're screaming and up and down, just like Tower of Terror. Number 3, Toy Story Mania. Now, the California Adventure version of Toy Story Mania was the first version, and it's a lot of fun. And right now for the 70th anniversary they have special 70 targets, which will give you special bonus points, is what I hear. Now, why couldn't we have something like that in Florida for the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, huh? Maybe for the 60th in 6 years, huh? But yeah, it's a fun ride. I sometimes practice with it. I have the... hang on, I gotta show you. Hang on. Let's see. Hang on, folks. Here it is. Here is what I have. The practice. I swear I am not promoting this anyway, but the Toy Story Mania Wii game. This is what I use to practice. Now you know my secrets. Good. All right. All right, now. Anyway, number 2, Radiator Springs Racers. Now, Radiator Springs Racers is, again, I think it's better theming and a better ride than Test Track. Again, I know I'm going to get hate for that, but it's how I feel, because 2 cars going at once on the big loop around the building, and it has bank turns, and of course all those great characters from the Cars movies. And it's just a lot of fun, and I know we're going to get a Cars ride at the Magic Kingdom, which I am stoked for, by the way. And my number 1 ride at Disney's California Adventure, Soarin' Over California. Now, here's the thing. When I say Soarin' Over California, I'm talking about the OG Soarin'. Don't get me wrong, I love Soarin' Around the World, but Soarin' Over California is great, and if you want to go to California to ride the OG, you have to do it during the Food and Wine Festival, because that is the only time of the year when they convert Soarin' Around the World back to the original Soarin'. And I know for this because when we were there last month, we arrived on the very last day of Food and Wine. So we got to ride Soarin' Over California. And then the next day, we rode Soarin' Around the World, which is crazy, I admit. But yeah, I love the original Soarin'. I mean, it got Patrick Warburton in both versions, so how could you go wrong with Soarin'? I mean, the music, the scenes, everything. So anyway, let me know in the chat or in the comments what your favorite ride is at Disney's California Adventure. And now it is time for Diz or Dat. Now, on both coasts, the Jungle Cruise is one of the great Disney classics. At Disneyland, it is entirely outdoors, and there you have the Cambodian shrine and the piranha scenes, as well as other classics. And at the Magic Kingdom, it is mostly outdoors with the with that tunnel. Well, but still, it is a it's hard to tell which one's the best because they're both the same and yet they're both unique. So let me know in the chat or in the comments which version of the Jungle Cruise you prefer. Diz, the Disneyland version, or Dat, the Walt Disney World version. And now it's trivia time. So last week, we asked you to tell me who said fish are friends, not food. Meanwhile, Ray in the comments gave the correct answer of Bruce, the shark from Finding Nemo. And now, here is this week's trivia time question. Now, this one is a complete the phrase. It just takes faith, trust, and be the first one in the chat or in the comments with the correct answer, and you will receive 100 cool points. So, earlier this week, Disney has announced the details for this year's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. It should come as no surprise that this year they will start on August 15th. Now, they've been doing this starting it in early August for years now, because in mid-August in Florida is when most Florida kids start going back to school. So this makes sense almost. And for those of you who've been with us for a while now, you know that we did our first ever Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party 2 years ago. And we are actually thinking and hoping to get tickets for October. I mean, we're already planning a trip in October, but trying to get a ticket for the party would be great, because this year the Boo to You parade will be a bit earlier at 8:15, which I think is awesome compared to 2 years ago when it was at 9 o'clock. And I can't wait for all the other great stuff for it, like the special Halloween overlays of some of the rides, and of course trick-or-treating throughout the park. Seeing the Cadaver Dans. I might try to see the Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular this time if we get a ticket. Of course, like I said, the parade, it's great. And maybe, possibly, a fireworks video as well. So keep your fingers crossed that we get a ticket for Not So Scary this year. So anyway, that's our show. As I said, if you have any questions on how to do Disney for people with disabilities, let me know in the chat if you're watching this live, or in the comments if you're watching this later. And I'll make sure it gets into a future episode. For this week's shout-outs, make sure you guys check out Jessica and Lewis. They post great stuff on their Instagram. Definitely check them out. Also, make sure you guys check out Nate, a.k.a. Paging Mr. Morrow. He is currently at the Disneyland Resort covering stuff for the 70th anniversary. Definitely check him out. Also, make sure you guys check out Tanya, aka That Crazy Disney Lady. She does great live streams from the parks all the time. Definitely check her out as well. Also, make sure you guys check out Samantha Lowe. She does great live streams of the concerts at Epcot. Check her out as well. If you haven't subscribed here yet to the Big John Network, what in the Walt Disney World are you waiting for? And ding the bell for notifications so you never miss a second of the fun. And until next time, may the mouse be with you.